Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Monday Night Wars. This is Raw for November the 6th, 1995. This is the 9th week of the Monday Night Wars, the 134th episode in Raw's history. It took place from Brandon, Manitoba, Canada, where they're continuing the tapings from that city. Ratings were 2.3 to 2.1 last week for Nitro's second straight win. But this week it's the WWF with a big bounce back. WWF Raw drew a 2.6 to Nitro's 2.0. So Raw wins by 0.6 this week and bounces up by 0.5. So that's a big boost. That's 500,000 more viewers turning into Raw, plus beating Nitro by 0.6, breaking Nitro's 2-week winning streak. The first 2 weeks consecutive that Nitro ever beat Raw. So it was important for Raw to beat them back. So let's take a look at the episode that beat them and drew a 2.6. It's McMahon and Doc Hendricks on commentary because King is in action later in the night. We open up, though, with Marty Jannetty versus the British Bulldog. We saw a preview of a promo with these two last week. Marty runs into a shoulder block by the Bulldog. Marty with arm ringers versus the Bulldog, hooking the rope. Jannetty with a duck and then a leapfrog and a drop kick. Jannetty with an arm bar with Cornette, and he kicks the ropes where Cornette is on the outside. British Bulldog Irish whip Jannetty and hit a back body drop, then a standing vertical suplex, displaying awesome power. Clarence Mason backstage, as we expected, it says with the loophole contract last week, says that the loophole in the contract allows the Bulldog to meet the winner at season's beatings in your house of the Bret Hart Diesel WWF title match. So Bulldog's the number one contender, pretty much, is what he says. Bulldog keeps the high-flying Jannetty grounded with a headlock. Marty Jannetty chants as the elbows out and it hits a crucifix, but then gets a near fall. This was a great match here to open Raw. Back from the commercial break, Bulldog has his powerful headlock in on Jannetty. A double collision at the side ropes. Bulldog gets a near fall and slaps another headlock on. Bulldog with Jannetty coming back. Bulldog tosses him right to the floor with his using his weight for elevation to drop him outside the ring ropes. Jannetty comes back, landing on the outside with a sunset flip. Bulldog stays off the canvas as he only gets a 2 count. Back into a headlock. Bulldog speared in the corner, but Marty misses him with an upside down tree of woe. Bulldog stomped on him in this position, and then a snapmare by Jannetty to the Bulldog. Davey Boy then hits a snapmare with a flying elbow back to Marty Jannetty with a facebuster as the fans come alive. In the end, Marty hits a DDT to the Bulldog, but Davey Boy Smith had his boot on the ropes and runs into the shoulder first into the ring post. Bulldog then hits a running power slam at 10:28, and the Bulldog wins the match at that time. On his way to number one contendership in December. Great match here. British Bulldog beating Marty Jannetty. I gave it 3 stars. Cornette says after the match that he will be world champion, the Bulldog, and HBK better not double-cross his team at the wild card match at Survivor Series. Next up, we got Terry Richards, the jobber, taking on Henry O. Godwin. Terry Richards is a young rhino. He looks so different with different hair and a red singlet outfit. Henry Godwin tries raking the face Henry Godwin with a slop drop in a couple minutes and wins. Hunter Hearst Helmsley then comes to pedigree Henry Godwin after the match on the outside. He does so on the floor. Then Helmsley puts on white gloves and then drops the slop all over Henry Godwin. It looked like chicken soup, the slop, but it still looks gross. 3/4 of a star for Henry Godwin beating the jobber Terry Richards, which is an early rhino. But Helmsley pedigrees Henry Godwin, so they're going to continue their program after this, all the way to their slop match at In Your House Season's Beatings. Todd Pettengill does Slam Jam while Doc Hendricks is on the commentary booth, so it's Pettengill back there doing the Survivor Series lineup. Then Kama of the $1 Million Corporation comes out with Ted DiBiase to take on the jobber Tony Roy. Hammerlock leg sweep, go behind, fooling Kama, who is then going after Roy. Meanwhile, on the match, HBK is on the phone talking about how he's coming back. And they talk to HBK the entire time that Kama beats up this jobber. Kama ends up winning just a few minutes. I gave it 1.5 stars because there was some decent wrestling in the jobber match that Kama wins. And then we had the main event of Raw, Isaac Yankum, DDS, and Jerry Lawler taking on Bret Hart and Hakushi with Barry Horowitz in their corner. Isaac Yankum and Bret begin in the ring. Bret ties up with Isaac Yankum. Bret's corner, and the future Kane hits a slugfest to the Hitman and back to the corner. Bret hammers him back with a shoulder work and deep armbar, and in the clutches is stopped by a bear hug of of Isaac Yankem, and then a rake of the face to get back in control. And he tags in Hakushi, who hits a diving headbutt. Hakushi goes to the same arm, and Isaac Yankem corners him with a knee to the abdomen. Isaac Yankem hit by a cartwheel handspring by Hakushi, and then he does a deep armbar working on the short shoulder of Isaac Yankem. He kicks at him with an uppercut. Afterwards, an uppercut after the kick. Bret then holds Yankem in the corner as Hakushi hits a Bronco Buster. Bret, without hitting the Bronco Buster several times, just one Bronco Buster, just a leg plant in the corner once. He stomps away Isaac Yankem. The Hitman comes in with an atomic drop. Isaac Yankem kicks out as a near fall. Bret goes for an overhead wrist lock, working over that shoulder again, the bad shoulder of Isaac Yankem. Yankem with a shot, and then Bret sunset flips back into the ring with a pinfall attempt, but he kicks out. A tag to Hakushi, and then the arm wringer again with a cartwheel. This time, Isaac Yankem had it scouted as he clotheslined Hakushi in the back of the head. Then Hakushi shows great agility with another cartwheel and a high kick to Isaac Yankem. The King finally gets a tag into the match, and he does a cheap shot at the outside. Lawler tags in, and as I said, and imitates Bret's pose as the King hits a pile driver to Hakushi. Then the King gets a second pile driver to Hakushi, gets a near fall as the King poses. Then he tags back in Isaac Yankem, and he has a bear hug to Hakushi as we come back from a commercial break. Isaac Yankem locks on a Boston Crab, but Bret broke up the count. Lawler ready to polish him off, but Lawler catches a shot to throw it off the top by Hakushi. Bret tries to get the hot tag, he does, and then unleashes on Isaac Yankem. In the end, the Hitman hit a running bulldog to Isaac Yankem. King then gets right hands with both of them, a double noggin knocker by Bret to both heels. Bret Irish whips him into the ropes and then hits a side Russian leg sweep followed by the middle elbow drop. Then he goes for the sharpshooter. Lawler in, but Hakushi makes sure he's on the outside. King grabs a chair, and Barry Horowitz makes sure there's no chair as he comes into the ring and grabs a chair from Lawler. However, the ref turns around and sees that Horowitz has a chair in a hand, so the Lawler DQs Bret Hart even though he had the sharpshooter on Yankem at the time. King came into the ring with the chair. Horowitz took it away from him, and Horowitz had the chair in his hand, so the ref DQ'd Bret and Hakushi because Horowitz, their manager, had a chair in his hand, and he all he did was take it away from the King, but the ref thought that he was going to use it, so that's why Bret and Hakushi are disqualified. I gave the match 2 stars and 3/4. This episode I rated 6.5 out of 10. The main event and the Bulldog Jannetty were both in the 3-star category. If that's to get two matches like that on 1 hour Raw is very impressive. It was pretty good compared to other 1995 Raws. Thus, a 6.5 sounds about right. Next week, Sid takes on Razor Ramon for the IC title, where Bret and Diesel also go face-to-face with probably a contract signing for Survivor Series. Ahmed Johnson debuts in the ring, and Helmsley and Henry Godwin will continue their storyline next week. Please hit like and subscribe if you're following along. Even if you're not following along, and you're watching the reviews, that's great. You can watch these reviews anytime. They're archived, so whenever you watch the Monday Night Wars, you can go back and watch them. Thanks to everybody who's watching. So Raw, again, beats Nitro in the ratings 2.6 to 2.0. And again, its quality is 6.5 out of 10. The last 4 Raws have all been 6 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10, and 6.5 out of 10. Those are the last 4. So Raw's been consistent. However, the last 4 in the victories has been WWF, WCW, WCW, then WWF this week. Raw beats Nitro 2.6 to 2.0, a whole 0.6 win, and that's why probably 2 good matches with Bret in the main event and Bulldog Jannetty opening was a good sight for Raw, so that's why they beat Nitro this week. Anyway, for this week's Raw, the 9th week in the Wars, WWF wins. Their record is now a 4-3-2 against WCW overall. 4 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws. Tune in to next week's, the 10th week of Raw, and tune into the 9th Nitro review as well to see how Nitro did when they drew a 2.0 up against Raw. I'm Bret Mix for this Raw review, and I'm out. Thanks for watching, everyone.